welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Christopher Hill, the editor of DestinAsian magazine, and this afternoon's webinar will be focusing in on Thailand and the way ahead for the country's tourism industry, which, as elsewhere in the world, has been decimated by the COVID-19 outbreak. But there has been some good news of late. For one, Thailand has now gone 5 weeks without any recorded local transmissions. So that's great to hear. Today also sees the country open to international passenger flights, lifting a ban that has been in place since early April. Arrivals are admittedly limited to Thai nationals, residents, medical tourists, and certain business travelers, and anyone flying in can look forward to 14 days in quarantine. But it is a start. Elsewhere, the country is well into the 4th phase of easing its COVID-19 restrictions, most recently allowing pubs, bars, and other entertainment venues to operate until midnight. And talks continue about establishing cross-border travel bubbles with nations such as Japan and Australia as early as August. All that said, it's still unfortunately going to be a long road to recovery, and hospitality businesses, hotels in particular, will have to recalibrate accordingly. How and when international arrivals will return to sustainable levels is anyone's guess at this point. The Minister of Tourism for Thailand recently stated that the goal is to have 10 million foreign arrivals this year. That's just 1/4 of the 2019 tally. So without a doubt, the focus for the months ahead will be on tapping into domestic demand. 12 to 13 million Thais had been expected to travel overseas this year. The Tourism Authority of Thailand believes at least half of these can be converted into domestic tourists. So we'll be digging deeper into all of this over the next 15 minutes. Sorry, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We'll be digging deeper into this over the next 50 minutes or so. And I'm delighted to have a great lineup of speakers to help guide us through it all. Discussing a recent report on the future of domestic tourism in Thailand is Wainik Urarat from Quo, a global branding agency headquartered in Bangkok. We'll then hear from Kun Prachum, the Vice President of Sales at Dusit Hotels and Resorts. And she'll be talking about the outlook for Bangkok, Taiwan's gateway capital. Anthony Lark, who helped open Amanpuri more than 20 years ago before partnering in the creation of the equally celebrated Trisara Resort, has been president of the Phuket Hotels Association since 2016. And he will, of course, talk about the island's prospects and its relaunch campaign. After that, we'll hear about the situation in Chiang Mai from Anne Aerosmith, the corporate general manager at 137 Pillars Hotels and Resorts, whose 137 Pillars House Resort in Chiang Mai has stood witness to the northern city's now stalled tourist boom since debuting in 2012. And rounding out the discussion will be Jackson Ferguson, the Regional Director of Sales at Minor Hotels. Jackson will be talking about Koh Samui, where Minor operates 3 resorts, plus an Anantara on neighboring Koh Phangan. So thank you all again for joining us today. And if time allows, at the end of the session, we'll have a quick Q&A, which viewers can participate in using the chat function at the bottom of your Zoom screens. So please stick around for that and send in any questions you might have, and we'll get to as many of them as possible. And with that, let me turn the screen over to Wainik to discuss what we might expect from the domestic travel market in the months ahead. Wainik?
All right, thank you very much, Chris. Thank you once again for having me, and look forward to sharing some of these insights that we've found, speaking directly to a lot of local Thai travelers as well as hotel GMs across the country. So like what Chris said, I think for the nation around the end of, middle of May towards the end of May, a lot of the discussion has shifted to the importance of domestic travel in Thailand, likewise in other countries around the world. And so we wanted to find out what the, of course, you have a lot of talk about, what domestic travel would be, what hoteliers think it would be, what hotel industry experts would think what the future would look like, but what's actually happening with travelers in this market. So as you can see, we saw a lot of news early June covered across the region of Thailand, domestic traveling, domestic travel starting to come back. We saw greater supporting news and positive signals coming mid-June of TAT, the government coming together to stimulate travel in the country. And of course, today, as what Chris mentioned, we had positive news on approvals of a lot of stimulus packages designed to help this industry recover from COVID-19. So we decided to find out more facts about what's actually happening. So just for background information, this deck will be shared with all the listeners after today's presentation, but just to go through a little bit of what we did. So around early June to mid-June, we started asking questions of locals around the country who have on their intent to travel. And the key objective of this exercise was number one, to measure what the travel intent is. And number two, to see if what they are planning is aligned with what hotels are expecting. So what we saw was, obviously we've seen it in the different destinations now already, that there's a lot of pent-up demand and a lot of pent-up desire to travel. So a lot of domestic tourists and travelers are eager to travel again. But what was interesting to us was, we didn't see that much of within expected intent to travel in the third quarter. A bulk of respondents felt they were going to resume travel only in the fourth quarter. But what's actually, we asked the same question to hoteliers, and their response was interesting to say the least. A lot of them are obviously preparing for immediate and quick lifting of restrictions, with bulk of hotels planning for a third quarter resumption in travel. But what the data about the information is telling us here is that there might be a bit of a disconnect here in terms of short-term versus long-term change. And what we see is, of course, a lot of hotels are planning for the short-term, but in terms of what could happen, a lot of travelers might only look to fourth quarter or first quarter next year for real meaningful travel. Is there any other data that supported what we saw with the survey? Perhaps. So what we did was additional research, and we found, through a specialist in travel search, focusing on Thailand, where they saw also an uptick in hotel searches towards the end of lockdown. So towards the end of May, people started searching again. They wanted to travel again. And what's interesting on the chart on the right is that's where you have the intended dates of travel. And that's with hindsight, it's kind of aligned with what we're seeing in industry. What the data was telling us was, we see a little bit of a bump of travel intent in June. So it's about now, and that's the past couple of weeks we've seen that. But what's interesting is they expect a massive surge in actual travel intent and travel dates November. So that kind of aligns also with what we saw the local respondents telling us. So that bodes well for the recovery process in Thailand in general. So we also asked respondents how they would like to travel. So no surprises here. There's a little bit of a drop in confidence about flying, and mostly a lot of people are traveling by car. So what we are expecting is that we're going to go to destinations that are close by, perhaps more focusing on destinations that they are familiar with. Because one of the questions we also asked was, what's the main driver of travel in these difficult times? And only 4% chose, exploring a new destination as part of their motivator. So that's not high on their priority list. So where do they actually want to go? So again, we didn't see much surprises here. We asked them whether they would like to go to the beach, the mountain, or city destinations. So before COVID, obviously, there was a strong leaning towards the beach, but we saw that increasing more significantly than other destinations. So people are looking to the fresh air, so to speak, to stretch their legs. And when we also asked, where do we expect them to travel, them focused on the central area. So what that's telling us is, by car is going to be the preferred mode, and somewhere close by to the more populated areas. And that also aligns with what hotels are expecting. They're expecting a lot of travel within the central parts of Bangkok. And this was asked when Sky, now with Sky is opening, we might see an uptick in the north and south of the country. Any change in accommodation preferences? So before COVID, a lot of people did enjoy going to independence, to boutique hotels because of the personality and charm of those destinations and properties. But after COVID, that's where we saw a little bit of interest, where there was a slight decline in independence and a shift to brands with a capital B. And why was this so? So we started asking more questions here, and we found out that a lot of people are influenced by things like brand reputation, brand values, the trust in a brand. That becomes something that's important for a lot of travelers. And they might compromise on certain things to get those assurances that they can travel well and that there's a plan in place to do so. So when we dig a little bit deeper more, what do travelers really want to feel to get them to go out again? Of course, here, no surprises. Suddenly now, we didn't do this before and after, but obviously health and hygiene and the safety of others are the top concerns for any traveler. But generally, we saw that a lot of travelers feel broadly optimistic about domestic travel. So generally, they're still either very neutral or comfortable with all modes of travel except flying, of course. And we saw a little bit interesting there of staying at vacation where there was a slight, significantly more discomfort staying at vacation rentals. And that time will tell whether this boils down to human behavior or whether this boils down to the trust in vacation rentals to be able to deliver a safe and hygienic space for the traveler. And finally, we asked hotels also what they plan to do to attract the domestic market. So what are the strategies and tactics that they have in place? So no surprises there in terms of promotions and packages. A huge majority of hotels are actually doing that already. Interestingly enough, the room rate discounts were 50-50. So of course, there's still a hope to not drop rates by too much. But what also we saw was interesting when we compared hotels versus resorts. Of course, keeping in mind, travelers want to go to the beach. What are properties in those locations actually doing? And when it comes to hotels versus resorts, we saw kind of a disparity there between what city hotels are doing in terms of integrating tools and technology, training staff. Perhaps this was due to, if we had a bigger data set, probably would see different numbers. But I think what we've tried to do is capture as many hotels as possible across Thailand from the north to the south. So what we're seeing here is some interesting deviances in what hotels are actually doing. So in terms of, before we move on to the next destinations, I guess a key takeaway for us was travel intent is definitely there. It's definitely growing. We see that in Thailand in the past couple of weeks. We're seeing that in other places around the world as well. But the truth is there's still a long way to go for the local market to fully extend itself. And then also for of course, for international travelers to come in. And the message, of course, as a branding agency, we like to champion the importance of brand and purpose. This is very challenging. So having that clarity of purpose and making sure we're confident in doing the right steps to convince the traveler that they can trust us. And of course, what we want to do is to appeal to a traveler, in the long term. It's not just going to be a traveler in the next 3 to 4 months, but ask the questions of how will there be a change after this kind of very disruptive boot camp of behavioral change that everyone is going through, has gone through the past 2 to 3 months. So it's head to 2020 as well, 2021, and what can we do to appeal to this post-COVID traveler? So with that's the key insights that we learned from this, and look forward to from all the different destinations and what's actually happening in those spaces.
Okay, that's excellent. Thank you, Waynick. That's fantastic information. And with that, Kun Pratchum, let's turn to you, and perhaps you can tell us about the situation in Bangkok, which of course a crucial hub of the entire country, if not the industry itself.
Yes. Okay. Ka. Swadee ka. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, here's come the city of angels. Look at the sky behind me. It is kind of quite cloudy, but I can smell the fresh air every morning when I wake up. I can hear the birds singing instead of the sound of the aeroplane in the morning, which is great, isn't it? So now let's move to the city of angels. Let me remove my face here. Okay. All right. Well, Thailand is still amazing, okay? And I would like to update you a little bit on the destination. I cannot move. All right. Okay. Let me show you some statistics here. Okay. They said that with the current situation, the first 2 quarters, that we have been hit hardly by COVID, it shows about 50% drop in occupancy for the hotels in Bangkok. But I think moving to the third and the third quarter, it's going to be a little bit worse than 50%. I think it's going to go down to around 70% in my opinion, right? Compared to last year, that's obviously you see the decrease of the business. And the table on the right down here below, it shows the number of tourists coming to Thailand and compared to Bangkok. The number of tourists coming to Thailand is about, the latest information in 2019 is about 40 million persons, which about 55% coming to Bangkok, because Bangkok is, at the end of the day, is still a gateway to other destinations, to any countries in Southeast Asia and also to other provinces in Thailand. So from January to May in 2020, Thailand welcomed about 7 million tourists. Okay, so if I calculate quickly, roughly, because the official number has not been released yet. So 55% of 6.69 million is equal to 3.68 million. That's all we welcome to Thailand on the first 5 months, which is quite scary compared to the previous year. Okay. Now, what happened? We tried to find a quick win here during this very low occupancy, during the closure of the hotels. What are we doing here in Bangkok? I've been talking to hoteliers, talking to the travel agents and people related to the travel industry. What we're trying to do in order to gain the quick win when the situation is getting better is, number one, we remain the high standard of safety and hygiene. Okay, that is very crucial. It doesn't matter whether the vaccine is found or not, but we would like to remain the high standard of safety and hygiene. Number two is to balance the market segmentation. You see what happened to China, what happened to Korea and Japan. I think we have learned a very expensive lesson that from now onward, we shouldn't rely on one particular market segment or one nationality. So we have to balance the market mix well. Number three is elevate service standard and facilities. This is the right time for us to relook into the whole process, how we work, and we have to adjust to the new normal or the new consumer behavior. Hygiene standard come first, technology comes second, convenience, comfort, and value follow later. So these are the things that we all have to work on. And later on, I will show you what most of our hotel has done during the closure of the hotel. Number four is make use of technology, of course, for all of us, like myself, I'm a technology idiot, but I have no choice now. I have to learn how to cope with it. And we have to accept that we have to use technology to enhance the convenience and the high standard of hygiene for the guests. For example, now if you go to most of the restaurants, I will not say every, but most of the restaurants in Bangkok, you don't have to touch the menu. They will have the QR code placed on the table. You use your iPhone, use the QR code, and the menu will show up. That is one easy example that you started to see what changes in Bangkok when it's come to technology. Number five is provide wellness and holistic experience. Okay, so we have to look at the way the customer book their holidays and what they expected from us. They don't want to have just a comfortable rooms or enjoy the holidays, but they want to gain experience. But under this circumstance, how we can help them gain the experience? Okay, for example, some hotels, including Dusit Thani now, we try to bring in the experience into the hotel so the guests will feel more comfortable and they don't have to go out and gain the experience themselves. Okay. Number six is to offer added value and experience, as I keep saying about experience and experience. Okay, let's say if you go to, if you come and stay in Bangkok, if you come from Chiang Mai, we have to read the consumer minds. What do they want to buy back home? What do they want to do in Bangkok? They may not have to go out and buy some goodies or some things for their friends and family or their loved one. Why don't we bring in all this experience into the hotel? Shopping can be at the hotel, online, offline. We can have the markets in the hotels. We can make build a relationship with the local shop and restaurants. We even allow the guests to order the food from the restaurant that we choose for the guests, okay, because we have to look into the hygiene standard. They can actually stay with us and order the food from the local restaurants, and they bring in the food for them, okay. Focus on sustainability. It's even more important than anything else, because people realize that how beautiful the earth is and the environment is, you know, during the COVID. So sustainability become very, very crucial and more important than anything. Human resources management, we touch base a little bit on the training, you know, from the very beginning. So this is the right time for us to come and train our people again, make sure that they understand policies, procedures, and follow through as per our expectation. Last but not least, this is really a quick win, is, you know, for all my entire life in the travel industry, I have never seen such a great cooperation between the private sectors and the government like this before. And it's proved to be very successful during the COVID-19. Okay. So that's the quick win. So what happened? This is the consequence. I read through a lot of information, and I kind of put a consequence, what happened in Bangkok, you know, and also in Thailand. Cities start to lock down in 26th of March, okay? It was a shock to every one of us. We have never had this kind of situation before. The city was locked down. At 8 p.m., I was standing on the balcony in my condominium, and I never seen Bangkok as dark as it was on that day. I remember that day very well, 26th of March. It was so quiet. It's scaring. It's really scaring. But look, gradually it's getting better and better, because we are very disciplined, I must say. You know, normally Thai, we are very mai pen rai, it's easy, take it easy. But this time we are very well disciplined. We follow the advice from the government, from the Ministry of Public Health, and you see it gradually from phase 1 to phase 5. I'm not going to read through all the phases, but gradually it's getting better and better. Today, I'm so happy to see the kids going to the school again. All the restaurants open. We can go to the cinema. We can go to the theater. Last night I was in Chinatown, and if time's allow, I will show you the video of what happened in Chinatown and in the flower market last night. Okay, now let's move to Bangkok, the city of angels. You know, I think we all know what's happened to the world and to Thailand and to Bangkok, you know, with the consequences that I show you. But I just gonna spend a little bit of the time telling you why people should come to Thailand, come back to Thailand and to Bangkok. Bangkok is still a gateway of the travelers who come to Thailand, whether you want to go to other provinces or to Southeast Asia. Okay, so Bangkok is full of surprise. It's a city that never sleeps. If you feel hungry at 2 o'clock in the morning, you usually can go out and find a restaurant to eat. That is the beauty of city of Bangkok. Okay, now the reason, a lot of people asking, why do we have to come back to Thailand? Why do we have to come back to Bangkok? Okay, I think there are 2 reasons why you have to come back to Bangkok and to Thailand. Because we are beautiful. When I said beautiful, what do I mean by beautiful? Beautiful from inside out and outside in. Now, let me share with you, this is my personal opinion, and this is my thought that I would like to share with you as a Thai person, okay? Beautiful from outside in. It means that how people look at Thailand, okay? Why do you have to come back to Thailand and to Bangkok? It's because we have such a high standard of safety and hygiene. I must say that highest ever that I have ever seen since I was born, okay? More than 50 years already that I was born. So, for example, the good example is about standard health administrative, which was implemented by Tourism Authority of Thailand. And the governor has been working closely with Ministry of Public Health, THA, and all the association concerned about travel industry implement this standard, hygiene standard, and it's worked very well. We got cooperation from all the restaurants, shopping malls, hotels, tourist attractions, souvenir shops. Everybody is now strict to this standard hygiene administrative, okay? And the main control measures has been implemented across the country, and of course, including Bangkok. If you go to the restaurants, if you go to the shops, you will find everybody wear masks, they have a glove, they clean the surface quite often, you know, they check your temperature. So it's become kind of part of normal life now, okay? I will share with you this slide later if you want to, but I'm not going to read every single detail. I just want to show you that how strictly we are and how disciplined we are at the moment in order to ensure the safety and hygiene standard. Thai Chana application, first people kind of complain, why do we have to do this? It's a waste of time. But you know what? It's for everybody's safety and security. So we've got a good cooperation from the Thai people and all the shops. The photos that I show you, this is the photos from the biggest shopping mall here, the Siam Paragon here in Thailand. People are queuing to get into the elevator. They wear the mask. They use the alcohol gel. So it's very good. And they actually download Thai Chana app in their mobile phone. So wherever they go, they just download, they just use this app so that we can follow them where they are, just in case if these things happen again, or if the virus is starting to spread it again. MICE hygiene standard for meeting, incentive, convention, exhibition. I know that probably this is going to be the last market segment that will come back, but we are prepared for this and we are ready for it, okay? The hygiene standard is there. TCEP and TICA has been working closely with authorities concerned and come out with a very good manuals, which is you can download it from TCEP website and TICA website. Okay, so I'm not going to run through all the rules and regulations and policies, but you can download it later, or I have at the end of my slide, which everybody can download or share. I can share that with you. The second reason is Bangkok is fascinating. Whether you are first-time visitor or frequent visitor, Bangkok is a constant evolution. There are new facilities, dining, shopping, cultures, activities happening so frequently, still in Bangkok. Affordability. I mean, there's no doubt that Bangkok is really, you know, a magnet for all the travelers. Either you want to travel in style with all the red carpet or with a budget constraint. You know, Bangkok is there for you. If you name about accommodation, we have from every scale, from Airbnb, bed and breakfast, hotel, upscale, super deluxe resort style villas. We have it all here in Thailand. And a reasonable cost when you want to travel, either by SkyTrain, underground, or if you want to fly to other province, we have from the regular commercial flight to low-cost airline. Okay, so it's really an affordable city. Cuisines, well, there's no doubt, you know, as I said, if you feel hungry at any time of the day, you know, Bangkok is there for you. When you want to eat street food, if you want to eat from the Michelin star restaurants, or if you want to eat Indian food, Italian food, Thai food, it's all there for you. Okay, these are the Michelin, the latest record that I have from Bangkok. We have altogether 175 restaurants that got this Michelin guide in front of the restaurants, and the details are there. I'm going to read it for you. Accessibility. Both international airports are welcome low-cost or regular air carrier from around the globe. Yeah, infrastructure for land transportation has much improved in the last decade, allowing convenient transportation to connect from Bangkok to the rest of the country by air or overland. Segment. Bangkok is equipped with international class hospital, clinics, educational institute, mega-sized venue for medical tourism, international students, performance of concert, cultural shows, sport competitions, and massive exhibitions. It's all here in Bangkok. Okay, so now that's beautiful from outside in. The last slide I want to show you is beautiful from inside. What I mean is caring and sharing. Okay, Thai people are very friendly and we welcome everybody to our country. When it's unbeatable when it comes to hospitality, patience, encouragement. They're hardworking people. Last but not least, we are cool and we are welcome everybody. We're beautiful from inside out. You see what happened during the COVID. We try to help the tourists as much as we can. There's a lot of people who cannot go back home. We try to accommodate them. Any genders, any sex, and any nationality are welcome. We are all equal here in Thailand. We also have, you know, food for heroes for the frontline staff, and we also help, you know, less fortunate people. We're sharing the food. We're giving, you know, the sharing pantry project is such a beautiful project that I have ever seen before. So these are the beauty of being in Thailand and in Bangkok, okay? And whenever you come to Thailand or to Bangkok, meeting new friends and impressive service is no doubt, okay? So that's all I want to share with you about Bangkok. Before I say goodbye, I want to show you the video, just only a few minutes, a few seconds. This is where I have been last night and the night before. I just want to show you how lively it is now in Bangkok. Oh,
I don't think we can see that.
can you see that?
No, I can hear it, but we can't.
You cannot see that, right?
Available on 24 hours. No matter at what time you feel hungry.
Sounds enticing.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Can you see that now?
Unfortunately, no. We can just hear it.
Okay. It's amazing. Anyway, I was in Chinatown last night and I actually took you to see, how lively it is. And I went to flower market, it's still open on 24 hours. And I can guarantee to you, we will never disappoint you when you come to Bangkok. Okay. All right. So I pass the microphone on to the next person.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that. Okay.
Not a problem. Thank you very much, Kun Prachun, for all those insights. And now we'll head south to Phuket, where Anthony Lark is going to tell us what's happening on that island and how it's reinventing its image. Is that fair to say? There's a new marketing campaign. Anthony, over to you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Good afternoon, everybody from the island of Phuket and the Andaman Sea. Delighted to be with you this afternoon as we all look towards recovering from this last few months. I think it's already been said that, Thailand in general has been, in a global sense, very well managed in terms of combating this virus. There's been only 3,000 odd cases and about 58 dead tragic deaths from the virus in Thailand. Compare that to other countries in the world with far fewer populations than us. It's a really good result. The Thai government's done a really good job in this sense. The Phuket Island specifically has had now 35 days without any domestic infections or any infections reported. There were only a total of 227 cases on Phuket with about 3 deaths. And all of those deaths sadly had significant pre-existing conditions. We acted very early here. The provincial government of Phuket took a very, very strong stance early on. They literally closed the island down in every sense. It was the only province in Thailand that actually closed all of the sub-districts in Phuket. There are 9 sub-districts. You could not travel from Talang district to Kamala. If you're in Surin Beach, you could not go to Bang Tao. It was a seriously well-organized, cordoned off shutdown with roaming police and medical officers doing house-to-house checks in hotspots. Patong Beach was really the big hotspot, and we had most of the outbreaks were coming from Patong nightclubs. Of course, the airport was shut. This is an island of more than 1,000 hotels, registered hotels, and without any air link, without any sea link, and with the bridge closed to Phang Nga Bay across from us, we were literally shut off from the world for nearly 3 months, and at least two months of those very strongly policed. So we were in real lockdown. The airport has since reopened here in terms of domestic travel. There are flights every day to and from Bangkok and other provinces within Thailand. I think that, there's been a major stress in terms of how the island and its kids, particularly those working in the hospitality sector and airlines here, have coped with this. Although we acted early, it didn't stop the pain. The island has, as you know, it relies almost entirely on tourism-related services. And as a result, we suffered very, very badly, as did Koh Samui and other tourist-based destinations. Our organization, which I represent, is the Phuket Hotels Association. We have 75 hotel members. We stepped up from a very early time. Those 75 hotels represent about 12,000 rooms here on the island and about 20,000 staff. None of us had ever navigated this kind of situation previously. And the Hotel Association really got together with a sense of community with the hoteliers that we represent. And we had daily updates. We established line groups and a Zoom communication. We would invite in lawyers and people talking about social security issues and staff retrenchment issues and how to furlough staff and how to take care of people, where the centers for relief were in terms of families looking for food. One of the big issues an island like Phuket had when it's locked down from even Phang Nga province was that when they locked the island down and when tourism stopped and when salaries stopped and the potential to earn income stopped, you've got to understand that almost more than 50% of the people that live here are not from here. And they had no chance or opportunity to go home. You couldn't drive off the island, you couldn't fly off the island. They banned all boats from all ports. So there were kids who had been furloughed or terminated from their jobs who were literally stuck here without any salary. Now the Thai government paid a social security payout compensation to staff, which represented about 62% of their normal salary, up to a maximum of about 15,000 baht per month, which really did help a lot of people. And it really saved young families from literally starvation. So the government acted very quickly here. It was great, but we had these major lockdowns, all of the beaches, all swimming pools, all movement, as I said, all shops, all restaurants, all bars, everything shut down. They've all now completely reopened. We have a great sense of community amongst the hoteliers on Phuket. Our Phuket Hotels Association has brought in a new spirit of community, and we have 4 or 5 different subcommittees or working groups working on sustainability, education, and marketing, including recovery from the COVID-19 situation. So we've been very active, and as a leader in the community, the hospitality industry has really stepped up, and we've reached out to a lot of these often young general managers who have never faced this kind of thing before. How to close a hotel is not something you learn in hotel school. How to deal with furloughing staff and terminating staff with your owner on one hand saying cut costs, with your staff on the other hand needing to be supported. And of course, all of this together with the fact that we're going to have to reopen at some point. We've just done a survey of all of our members. I think about 50% of the hotels on the island or thereabout have reopened for business, even though there's only a trickle of domestic travelers coming into Phuket at the moment. So we're getting information updated to us at the moment, but it looks like 50% of the hotels have reopened. The island itself is quite busy. I was in Koh Samui last weekend, and it was really, really quiet there. Phuket has a larger population, obviously, so there's more people residing here and supporting local businesses. But it's still, as we say, there's blood on the streets, and it's going to get a lot worse. July, August, September, even October are looking dire. We don't expect realistically any international airline travel for tourism that doesn't have any quarantine restrictions until at least September at this stage, if all goes well. I mean, you can imagine what the Thai government is thinking, looking to the United States and to parts of Europe, South America, etc., Southern Africa going crazy. There's not a lot of incentive to open the borders here. Same as New Zealand. New Zealand's done a great job controlling it, but they need income from foreign travelers, etc. They just won't open their borders. And I suspect that the Thai government will be very, very reluctant to open up our borders to any kind of free-flowing tourism for many, many months. So having said that, you know, what do you do? We tried to help our hotel colleagues prepare for the reopening. We're not trying to help them manage their expenses, but we did help with the obvious, and that was providing them with data and information from around the world on a daily basis through a series of emails with connections through Zoom, conferences that we held on a regular basis with invited guests. We did a deal with a company called Hotel Resilient, which is a German company that's linked to the United Nations Disaster Risk Reduction, UNDRR, which is associated and affiliated with the German government. This company provides disaster relief, and in fact, they were here after the tsunami, but they also provide a certification, a COVID-19 certification that is globally recognized. And almost all of our hotel members in Phuket have been given the opportunity by Hotel Resilient to complete a questionnaire and then be audited by a ground-based company they've engaged to support them. And it gives us a globally recognized certification which can go on our websites, so that there is a sense of ease when rebooking. I think the travel industry would like to see more international certification as well. So that's all happening now. The one thing we knew as a hotel group was that the island itself, as Phuket Island as a destination, was frankly in many ways in trouble before COVID-19. I think the reputation of Phuket Island had been sliding. We've been losing market share to places like Vietnam, the Maldives. A lot of places in the region had been overtaking Phuket in terms of market share. So we got together and we said, look, what's wrong? What was wrong? And this is the best time to write that. What's the perception of Phuket Island? And so we went to Quo in Bangkok. My friend David Keane and his amazing team in Bangkok at Quo Global and the Phuket Hotels Association created a marketing campaign that is now being launched by each hotel, by the Tourism Authority of Thailand, and through distribution through PR with our partners, Delivering Asia Communications, David Johnson and his team. And we've literally gone global with this fantastic, you basically come back to Phuket and we warmly welcome you back and we're ready for you. It's not a crying, feel sorry for you thing. We're trying to highlight the experiences that we feel were the foundation of what made Phuket Island such a popular place in the early days. I'm fortunate to say that I've lived here for 32 years. And what brought people here 32 years ago was, of course, beaches, clear water, you know, Gai Yang and Som Tam on the beach, and a great massage and friendly faces and a little bit of nightlife for some, golf for others, great tennis, great weather, particularly in the Northern Hemisphere's winter. And we're trying to just highlight really the core values that made Phuket such a popular place when we first launched. And I'm going to play you the video that we launched globally just a few days ago. And I hope that you'll enjoy it in 1 minute. But our airport arrivals, the future predictions and the challenges are nothing to be sneezed at. This is a major crisis of a scale that none of us could ever have been prepared for. But we approach it with a great sense of confidence. And we are, you know, the cup is half full in Phuket. And we believe that the bones of this island and what makes it special haven't changed. And with a little bit of support from our local Phuket administration, the Tourism Authority, the Phuket Tourist Association, and various other non-government organizations, we've all got together and we've all supported this campaign that's a social media campaign, not just a video. The great news is that the environment, the ocean, the trees, the forests, the birds, the fish, the dolphins in Phi Phi Island, the sharks have all returned. We have turtles laying eggs on beaches like you've never seen before. So does Koh Samui. Let's hope that we can use this really dreadful last few months as an opportunity to come out of this with a little bit more sensitivity towards our environment. I mean, at the end of the day, the environment and the coastline and the forests that make these places so special are the foundations of what makes a destination attractive. And if we don't look after it, people will simply go somewhere else, and then everyone's dead. So we hope that the message that we're about to show you resonates with you. Those of you that have been to Phuket before, please come back. As we've heard previously in the Zoom call today, there's lots of very, very strong disciplines being seen across the island. I'm very proud of the way Phuket people have adapted and changed to be socially distancing, and how the hygiene levels are picked up. So everything is good. We want to show you the video, and then I'll return to you in 1 second. Enjoy. Thanks.
Imagine a time when once again you will be free. Free to travel, to explore, to be with those you love. Imagine that smile beckoning you close. Imagine the limestone cars dancing on the horizon. Imagine that aroma with its taste of the ages. Imagine that moment when the Andaman breeze brushes your face. Imagine that freedom. Imagine Phuket.
So I hope you enjoyed that. I think that I literally still get goosebumps when I see that, being a long-term resident here, and I hope that you all felt the same way. The Tourism Authority of Thailand supports this very much. In fact, we put Amazing Thailand on it and given a copy to our director of the TAT here in Phuket, who are going to use that video globally to promote tourism in Thailand back to Phuket. So I think that it was a quality production. I think it was visually stimulating. It wasn't a please feel sorry for us and we all beg you to come back. We were highlighting food, we were highlighting people, we were highlighting nature, and we were highlighting the experiences of the island. And so we're very proud of it. And I want to thank you, Chris, for giving me the opportunity to share this with you today. And we hope that we'll see you in Phuket very soon.
Yeah, my pleasure, Anthony. Thanks for being with us. And no, it's a beautiful video. Makes me want to pack my bags and get over there right away. But I guess I'll have to.
And we succeeded.
Have to wait a little bit. But right. So from the sunny shores of Phuket, we're now going north to Chiang Mai, and I know Anthony's a hard act to follow, but what can you tell us about what's happening up in Chiang Mai?
Well, he is a totally hard act to follow. Can you hear me, everybody?
Absolutely, perfectly, yes.
Good. Well, Anthony, you hit on my favorite song, Imagine. So the fact that your video followed that particular word, I too will be making my way to Phuket. My task this afternoon was to provide insight and updates with regard to Northern Thailand, and in particular Chiang Mai. And I have to say that, in my view, trying to predict demand and to forecast outcomes for the balance of this year is somewhat of a fool's errand. So it's almost akin to any one of us trying to pinpoint when the last date and the last place of the last COVID-19 case might be. So I'm going to avoid predictions, but I hopefully will provide some insights. In terms of our energies and our outcomes, I think that they would be much better served by focusing on what Thailand excels at and accentuating the positives in line with what research and experts are telling us with respect to travel in a post-pandemic world. And the word that perhaps most frequently is used and outlines travelers' expectations is the word trust. And interestingly, along with Singapore, Thailand actually ranks top as the most trusted nation in Southeast Asia. So in line with this, I understand that TAT in Thailand is on topic, and it plans to rebrand its tourism to Amazing Trusted Thailand. In many areas, the foundations and the fundamentals of being trusted destination have been in place for quite some years, and they are strong. And I happen to be amongst the optimists that find perhaps our forced placement and being put on pause will in the long run benefit tourism, Thailand and Chiang Mai in particular. Anthony mentioned how the environment is recuperating and nature is taking over. It's a gift for everyone. If I look at the many pillars that Thailand can be proud of and shout them out loud to and elevate them to a global travel community, I would list them as exemplary hospitality and pampering, genuine care for an exemplary service, with a desire by everybody that you encounter to personalize and to please each and every guest. And you know, it's somewhat remarkable that as a destination, the tolerance and the respect and the inclusivity that all Thais seem to have ingrained in them is a lesson that many parts of the world would do well actually to follow. So in addition to that, another pillar is the boundless opportunities to meaningfully engage and connect with local communities and travel activities that actually give back and contribute to local initiatives. In addition, we had the word experience. So experiential travel and the chance to escape to destinations that fit the mantra of the road less traveled, enables one to get apart from the crowd and discover a slower and a gentler side of life. And then there's the ability to engage and to enhance our wellness, focusing on physical as well as mental balance, fitness, and food. And the last point, while it might not appear to be the most appealing of Thailand's attributes, it is, however, vital to our success in regaining international travelers. And this relates to travelers' ability to gain travel insurance, which will cover them in Thailand. Not only does Thailand rate very highly in this, I was talking with Ewan out of the UK just last week, and he highlighted this important point. Thailand's reputation in terms of its medical facilities is second to none. So, and that just doesn't speak to Bangkok, it's throughout the country. So in Chiang Mai, we have very well respected medical facilities in that unfortunate incident that somebody might actually need them. So those two factors cannot be understated, particularly as we've heard that some of our repeat travelers are in that age group, myself included, which would fall into the vulnerable group. So above all, I think circumstances very much favor Thailand as a preferred destination. And that's not just domestically, but indeed regionally and vitally internationally when we have the next easing of the travel bubble. What's also important for our destination is that it appeals to the young and as well as the young at heart. And it attracts those that are seeking romance and the exotic, and equally it favors those who are looking for heritage and history, for nature and outdoor activities, world-class cuisine, our art and architecture, the cultural scene, as well as wellness and mindfulness. And its broad appeal actually crosses our regional borders as well as continents. As to the outlook, certainly the past months of hardship in many ways can be viewed as a gift of time, because it's allowed all of us to rethink and examine the past, and I think present practices and to clarify our priorities going forward. To Anthony's point, I was just back in Chiang Mai for a long weekend, and I noticed that nature has actually blossomed at 137 Pillars House. One of the mandates was that the significant trees on the property had to be preserved, and our accommodations had to be fitted in around those trees. And in amongst the trees, we have 5 ancient longan trees, which have not borne fruit in over 10 years. But I can tell you, having come back, that every tree had an abundance of fruit on them. Also, we had owls that nested in the flame tree, which is next to the old house, and they produced a new generation of residents. So we're taking any resident. In addition, the lawns and the shrubs and the gardens are thriving, and the signature green wall is looking absolutely splendid. And it's not just at our hotel. I traveled through the city yesterday on the way to the airport to get back to Bangkok, and I can tell you that everywhere looks refreshed and revived, and is really, it's a magnificent showcase and needs, at this point, a larger audience. Before I focus on the next few months, we actually need to step back here in Chiang Mai and analyze the most recent years, because 2017 was for us the high watermark. 2018 didn't disappoint in any way, where we saw 15% year-on-year growth in the first half of the year. And during the year, we welcomed over 5 million visitors. So tourism was buoyant in Chiang Mai, and much of that was because we benefited from improved and increased air connectivity, particularly with direct flights from a number of international destinations. Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, and multiple gateway cities in China, as well as Qatar entering flights into Chiang Mai, which opened up the Middle East, which is now an important gateway out of Europe and actually from beyond there. So within a decade, from 2008 to 2018, the international aircraft arrival ratio increased from 14% to almost double, to almost 28%. Now, in 2019, we were actually impacted by a two-front attack, and that was namely in the prior 2 years, supply had increased in Chiang Mai by well over 35%. And as of today, we have approximately, officially, and that's not counting those that open their doors for bed and breakfast and other activities, but we've got officially about 50,000 keys within the city. So we had this surge and increase in supply, but at the same time, as with Phuket, we witnessed a softening in arrivals, and we were particularly hit by China. For some years, I guess like everybody, we get a little bit complacent when times are good, and the Chinese market had certainly floated the boat for everybody in Chiang Mai, because it flattened out what had historically been a seasonal destination. So even back in 2019, we were having to rethink and refocus. And what's happened now has truly, I guess, propelled us to look at the importance of planned, sensible, sustainable, and aligned growth. Because just as we know with the stock market, there can be highs and then the very next day there can be lows. Tourism is not immune from that. So on that point of alignment, because I spent 11 very happy years living in Singapore, I have to bring Singapore in as somewhat of an example for certainly Chiang Mai to follow, and not just exclusively Chiang Mai and not just exclusively Thailand. Much could be learned from studying Singapore's exemplary alignment of key departments, agencies, and stakeholders. They just have got that perfected. And if you think back some years, it totally wasn't luck that when the integrated resorts opened, they opened in alignment with new infrastructure, the gardens by the bay and transportation networks that all arrived at the same time. So in Singapore, growth happens in tandem. In northern Thailand, it happens a little bit more by happenstance rather than design. So here we are with this surge in supply, and the airport, which is at capacity, means that we don't have the ability at this point to welcome more international travelers into our destination. So it really doesn't take an expert to identify a growing disparity between air access and increased supply. So as we look at the next direction, I think one of the benefits that we have to look for out of all of these ashes of doom and gloom is the reward that we have actually seen a more energetic and a more vociferous movement within Chiang Mai to really renew the urgency in preserving and retaining the unique charm of this city. And that is very much being underpinned by UNESCO World Heritage Initiative project, which hopefully, it's been some years in preparation, hopefully we will be propelled at a faster pace to achieving that stature for the destination. Today, we heard a little bit that the government announced its phased approach to opening up, and there perhaps were a few pleasant surprises. In one sense, domestic tourism hopefully will benefit from a number of subsidies that the government is presenting. I believe the process is being a little bit flushed out, but Thai nationals can register online and earn 1,000 baht subsidy towards airfare to another city, up to 3,000 per day against hotel accommodation. And there's even an allowance for spending when you're on this domestic holiday of up to 600 baht a day. So as we are all going to be reliant on domestic travel, at least until October, that stimulus package, I think will benefit all of the top destinations. When I looked at statistics and compared it to last year, in the first 6 months of last year, about 10% of the arrivals into Chiang Mai Airport were actually Thai domestic arrivals. So that number was around 70,000. So optimistically, given that people are ready to travel, but restricted from leaving Thailand, one would hopefully be able to be optimistic and predict that the second half of the year might see numbers in excess of 70,000 coming into Chiang Mai. I actually, as I mentioned, was flying back from Chiang Mai last night, and I tend to have a little bit of a different view with regard to all of these studies that say that people are obsessed with safety and hygiene, because I can tell you behavior did not change one iota for boarding that plane and for deplaning the plane. Everybody rushed to the gate when it opened up, and everybody stood up and tried to elbow their way out of the plane when it landed. So physical distancing did not exist on that plane, and also there was no physical distancing with respect to keeping the middle seat free. So I somehow think that this fear of flying is perhaps more exaggerated than perhaps it needs to be. So in terms of hotels that have opened, because most of us did close our doors for at least 2 months. As of today, I'm very happy to say that 137 Pillars Chiang Mai has opened its doors. We actually were going to do that in August, but had just a few regular guests that were interested to stay. So we determined that we would accommodate them. And within 1 day of opening our reservations, we actually ended the day with 52 room nights on the books.
Hear, hear.
So I'm just asking everybody, can they repeat that each and every day? Us, together with at least 81 other hotels, have reopened. And that's out of a list of 125 hotels that I was provided by TAT. So, you know, there are green shoots that are reappearing. In addition to keeping our spirits high, the hotel community will have to manage expectations, especially until the international traveler returns later in the year. And very much we're hoping that the significant holiday of Loi Krathong and the Christmas festivities will actually see us in occupancy levels somewhat similar to last year. And I am told that the responses from many of the luxury travel surveys indicate that 2021 will actually experience stronger travel patterns than 2019. So we should all be somewhat hopeful. Also, in terms of trends, small seems to be in favor. Luxury seems to be never out of style and in favor. And there does seem to be added interest on taking over an entire small property. So Chiang Mai certainly has quite a number of those, many of similar size to ourselves with 30 suites. So that focus on private car or private plane for those that might be a little more lucky, and private properties, private islands, private boats. I truly think that there is an opportunity there to market and capture an audience that perhaps in busier times we would not have contemplated doing. And we've yet to launch it because we thought it might appeal more to an international market. But one of the packages that we have in mind is Paradise Refound, and that is where an individual can have a monopoly on the entire 30 suites, but we will provide them. It's a 3-night minimum, but they will pay 50% of what would be the normal total cost of those 30 suites. So thankfully, Chiang Mai has a lot of hotels with a small footprint and with the privacy and the pampering that appeals to today's travelers. So it's going to be tough, but we are optimistic that what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. So hopefully we will welcome you all to Chiang Mai.
Okay. Thank you very much, Anne. That was very informative. A little note of optimism, so that's nice. And with that, we're in overtime now. Jackson, thanks for hanging in there. We'll give the last word to you and to beautiful Koh Samui.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. I have a little presentation here that I'll put on for everyone. Perfect. So yeah, last but not least, Koh Samui. So yeah, thank you everyone for your time today. And then away we go. So a little bit about myself. I'm like the Samui boy here from Minor. So I originally started with the company looking after our 2 hotels there in Antara Boput and the Rastananda in Koh Phangan. Then later moved to the Siam in Bangkok, but now I'm overseeing Thailand and now specifically as well the Koh Samui region. So I can say that I have a lot of, I've been there a lot of years. Fun fact as well, I got married there 2 years ago, so still going strong. So I think it's a good omen. Yeah, best news of all, we are open for business. Unfortunately, my background is this meeting room, but there's a long weekend coming up, so hopefully it changes to this soon. So Koh Samui and Koh Phangan are definitely open for business. All of our hotels actually in Samui are opening today, and Koh Phangan is opening on the 15th of July. So a bit of positive news there for us. Oops. There we go. So just a bit about destination updates. So Koh Samui, as you know, we have the carrier that we live and die on is Bangkok Airways. So they've been operating since 15th of May. From Bangkok with international destinations scheduled for October of this year. You know, it's the gift as well as the curse. I mean, you ask any hotelier on Samui, they're probably going to have complaints about Bangkok Airways, but at the same time, we have to be very positive of them because they've helped us to achieve this positioning as kind of a luxury island, just because the entry price is a bit higher. So for us, it really has helped. Also, we do see in the recovery, you know, affluent travel is not as affected economically as maybe your more mainstream. So we're quite positive about that. Samui and Phangan, we were really lucky in the sense that we weren't affected that much from COVID. So we have not had really any cases since May. So we've been really lucky in that sense. And something as well, because, you know, Samui has really been, again, because of flight availability, you know, it's mainly a long haul destination, a regional destination. We're really seeing a positive uptick in the local Thai market. You know, a lot of people haven't been to Samui in 10, 20 years. A lot of people have never been here. So we're starting to see a lot more traction there, especially because your traditional kind of summer holiday destinations from a domestic Thai market, you know, Thailand outbound travel is tremendous, you know, going to Japan, Korea, even Europe and all these places. And those destinations aren't available. So people are trying new, different things. And that's where Samui kind of really fits that niche. Yeah, in terms of accessibility, you know, Bangkok Airways at the moment, we are operating 5 flights a day in the peak July and August. So our seasonality is a little bit different compared to that on the Andaman side. So July, August is really our peak season. So normally when everything is up and running, we have 10 flights a day, but at the moment we have 5. So that's 4 from Bangkok and 1 from Phuket. They are on ATR, so about 70 people per flight. You know, hopefully, and I think Bangkok Airways is monitoring this, is that as that demand goes up, of course, they can just switch that over to an A320, which is 120 people. So pipeline is strong. The government here in Thailand has also declared a few national holidays. We have quite a few long weekends in July, which is really good because we're getting a lot of traction with that. Bookings that are really coming in. And you even have some days where Bangkok Airways you can't find flights available. There's also another alternative as well, which actually hasn't been used that much in the past, but Suratani, which is the closest entry point to the island on the mainland, so accessible via ferry. So that's where all of the low-cost carriers fly. So that's AirAsia. So even now, 1st to 15th of July, AirAsia is not available. So there's huge demand there. And really funny to say this, but being an 8-hour drive away from Bangkok, we start to see Samui as a driving destination. So we see more and more people stopping halfway in Hua Hin, overnighting in Hua Hin to break up the trip. So it's about 4 hours in the middle, and then finishing the 4 hours with the drive to Samui. Super convenient. People end up on the island with cars, so really accessibility is no issue there. In terms of the offerings, so you see this kind of everywhere. So the hotels have really tailored their offering to the local markets. You have a lot of heavy social media usage. So the good thing about the Thai market is we have such a high usage of Facebook and Instagram. It's relatively easy and cost effective to reach everyone. As you can imagine, all of our marketing budgets are really cut at the moment. So we're really able to, using social media, reach a vast audience quickly and very, very efficiently. You see also a huge surge in buy now, stay later type offerings. And yeah, so far we've had a lot of success with this, and I think a lot of the competitors as well on the island have. On a positive note as well, we have about 80% of our hotels on the island, not only Anantara and Avani, but the other hotels were about 80% opening in July and August, some later on September, October, with a few question marks. But yeah, so that's some green shoots. Samui, I think it has something for everyone, right? Just a quick map of the island here. So you kind of have your traditional, everything is in your northeast corner here. So you have Fisherman's Village. So this is where our Nantara Boput's located. It's, kind of like a small enclave, really family friendly. There's a really nice night market there. And this whole area is really starting to open up again. So, it is a slow process, but, we do have some green shoots. On the other side, you have Choang, also in the northeast corner there. So that's where, if you're more of like a younger millennial, a bit more nightlife and things like that, more of a beach club type scene. So we have the Anantara Lawana there. So that's really, kind of your one end of the spectrum in terms of the offering. But then on the other side, you have a lot of people that, live in Bangkok. They're tired of the traffic. The traffic's definitely back. And, they really want to just have an escape, right? So we kind of have two options there. So on Samui itself in the southwest corner, in Ban Talingam, we just opened an Avani 2 years ago. It's a really nice product, pool villas, and really secluded, right? Likewise, we also have the Anantara Rasananda in Koh Phangan. And this is, I would say, one of the nicest beaches in Thailand. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, is that, there are a lot of people who, are still a bit sensitive to being around large groups of people. And, these places have that alternative, right? You can really go here. You don't see a whole lot of people. It's almost like a Thai beach experience that you would have had 20 years ago. Not a whole lot of development going on. So it's really for a bit more of the adventurous, or for those who just really kind of want to get away. So really like an off the beaten track kind of destination. One other thing that we see, it's a buyer's paradise out there at the moment. People get to choose, they're able to pick and choose their fancy at the moment. So people are really, if you have sea views, pool villas, these offerings are really essential. It also kind of, all of our hotels do have the SHA certificate, which is the health and hygiene standards by the Tourism Authority of Thailand. But people are also looking for that seclusion as well, right? You don't have to share any of the common facilities, and private pools and villas and things like that are really in high demand at the moment. So kind of what's next? We do plan on really focusing on the domestic market for July and August. Thai schools started back today. International schools are still out on break. July looks quite positive. We have 2 long weekends. We will have a few more in August, hopefully, but yet to be decided. So we have at least a few days that we can focus on in terms of having, some decent guest numbers. The Tourism Authority based in Samui, they're very optimistic about Chinese travel opening up in October. The reason I mentioned Chinese travel is because specifically it's the beginning of Golden Week, so Chinese National Week starting 1st October. This would also extend to other international destinations. Likewise, all of the international flights from Hong Kong, Singapore, and KL into Samui they're scheduled to start right around then. At the moment, Q1 for us looks still, it's optimistic. It is a bit slower than it traditionally is, of course, but you know, all of your typical players are booking, right? So long haul Europe is booking, the right lead time, the right room category. So the demand is there. We do also anticipate that the booking window will be shortened because there's so much uncertainty around flight availability and things like that. But at the moment, you know, if everything keeps kind of going on a positive trend, we do anticipate that Q1 should be decent and yeah, definitely better than what we had the past couple months. As Kun Prashum mentioned, it's a really good point that, you know, we do anticipate that MICE will be the last segment to recover. We do have a few leads here and there for weddings. They have reduced in size significantly. I mean, you're looking 20 to 50 people. I have a few leads for Q4. But Q1 is almost open season. I think also a lot of the long haul wedding planners, this is kind of what they're pushing their people to do. So yeah, that's Samui in a nutshell. And yeah, thank you everyone for your time.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Jackson. It was great to hear all that beautiful photos. So thanks for sharing those as well. So we've run well over our original time limit, so apologies to everyone for that, but we've also covered a lot of ground. So again, I want to thank all the speakers for sharing their time. Thank you everyone. A recording of this session will be sent via email, I think, to everyone some point over the next few days. We'll also be placing it in our YouTube channel. For those who want to digest everything that we've heard again. So yeah, let me just sign off now. Thank you everyone again for your time today and your insights, and best of luck for the months ahead.
Many thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Chris. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for having me.